All right, this is SSL Family Dad with Simple Sustainable Living, and today we're talking all about how we plan to make some maple syrup this year. All right guys, if you've seen the video I did about how we plan to make it as farmers, I talked a lot about our plan. First part of that plan was maple syrup. That's kind of the first thing coming up in the year. I'm out here in what we have named the maple forest. Some people call it sugar bush. It's a stand of just about entirely maple trees throughout here. I also did a video in the fall about how I actually went out and marked all of these trees this year. So I'm going to take you around here. I'm going to do a little bit of counting and kind of judging on how many taps we need. Take you through the plans because we're at the end of January and I'm looking out forward in the forecast here and we're already starting to see some temperatures that are looking just pretty close to where the sap's going to start flowing. Generally here in Michigan, it's sometime at late February, mid to late February when it starts to flow. So I should have a couple weeks still to plan and prepare, hopefully, because I'm not ready yet. But I'll show you what I've got and what the plans are. All right, so what we're looking at out here is a lot of various maple trees. There's some old ones and some new ones, and I went out and marked them all this year because last year I came out here and I wasn't quite sure what was a maple tree and what wasn't. It's kind of hard to tell in the winter. You can tell by bark and in the tree formations and things like that, but it is definitely harder to tell in the winter. So all the maple trees get an M, and general rule of thumb is anything larger than 24 inches, you can tap it multiple times. So like this tree right here, this is a good sized tree. We could probably get about 4 taps on that tree, whereas a tree like this is actually barely old enough to tap. I may try to tap that one, I'm not sure. This looks like a silver maple. So this one here is good size. It's got kind of 2 trees. Could tap the littler one and the bigger one, but this is a real good size. So this one will probably get 3 or 4 taps also. Now what I did learn last year, these trees, especially the silver maples, they like to split off the trunks, and so we've kind of got, you know, a few different, this one, and this one. I'll tap each one of those and they'll, you know, produce quite a bit of sap individually. I'm going to do a little bit of counting here and we'll see kind of where we're at with taps. So let's start over here. Whoa! There's ice in here. Did I find it by falling down? Yeah, I did. Yeah, you got your own ice skating rink. Is this a mate? No, this is a black walnut. We don't want to tap that one. 1, 2, 3, 8, 13, 14, 15, 113, 114, 115, 116, 128, 129. So it looks like we've got at least 130 taps to put in. That's not, we don't have 130 trees, but several are going to get 2, 3, or 4 taps. So we've got quite a few maple trees in here and quite a few taps. So that gives me an idea. I do have 150 taps ready to go. So let me show you what we're using to tap and collect the sap. Oh, look at that greenhouse up there. It's coming together. All right, so I've been waiting to get one of these things for a long time. An IBC tote, 255 gallon. It's great condition. I mean, practically brand new. It's got the valve on it and everything down here, so I can attach I think it's a 2-inch fitting to that, and this will open and close. It's all frozen right now. But food grade, this had some kind of a food product in it. It's looks like some kind of antibacterial solution or something in the food industry. I'm not even exactly sure what it is, but it's only been used once, and what a great resource. So this bin, or this IBC tote, will be positioned up here near the greenhouse, which is where I'm going to do all my evaporating, and this will be kind of my my temporary to permanent storage tank, where I will daily bring back all of my sap and put it in here, and then I'll pull it off of this tank to put it into the evaporator. And I also bought from the same guy, I got these on Craigslist, guy just about 25 minutes south of here, 55-gallon drum, food grade, and this had organic vinegar in it. So that will have a little smell to it, so I'm gonna have to do some rinsing and washing and some baking soda and stuff to get that clean. I don't want my syrup to taste like vinegar, of course, but that's nice and clean, and no matter what, it will be a good container. So my plan is to take this 55-gallon drum in the bucket of the tractor back to the maple stand, which is way back there in the back corner, and I've got a few maple trees out here and around this whole forest, so I'll make kind of a loop through here, collect up all the sap into the 55-gallon drums, and then bring it back and dump it into my IBC tote here. My plan for collecting at the trees is basically whatever I can get my hands on. The guy had these for $6 each. These are a 15-gallon like tote, barrel, whatever you want to call it. These are food grade, but they had some kind of soap in them, so I'm not sure. I'm going to try to clean one of those out and use this as a storage. So what I was thinking with these is I would set this between, like, let's say 2 or 3 or even 4 trees and run all the lines into it, so I have central kind of place. Pick these up daily as well, and then dump them into my bigger tank, or bring all these right up to the IBC tote. We'll see whatever works best. There are lots of other options also for collection of the sap. I'm going to be using whatever I can get my hands on because I have so many to tap. And this is my first year, obviously. But last year I bought a bunch of stuff that I used around the house here, part of which was these aluminum buckets and these spiles here. I don't know, these spiles and these buckets, everything was pretty expensive. You're talking like $12 per setup here, and it's just too much. You talk about 100 taps or something like that. That's $1,200. Like, I'm not going to spend that much money on taps. So I will reuse these this year. Of course, I do like the stainless steel taps, and I wish I could get all of them. I also have these round taps. These spiles here come with these little hooks, and these pound into the tree with the hook on them here. And then you end up with a little connection for tubing. Just food grade tubing that they had at the hardware store is what I used to connect to these. So I do really like these stainless steel taps. These I bought on Amazon. I will put a link in the description to these taps. If you're looking at getting small scale, these are the best ones. But unfortunately, because again, these were not super cheap, they were a couple bucks a piece, this just wasn't my economical choice for this year. These bottles, a lot of times the water companies will, these portable water companies, they'll have kind of beat up, scratched up, logos wearing off, stuff like that. They don't leak, they have good lids, and they'll sell these. These were $5 a piece. I got a couple of these last year. I'll probably go grab a couple more this year. They don't always have 50 of them in stock. So this was a great collection container last year. It is clear, so you do gotta make sure you empty out your stuff twice a day, because you don't want algae or anything growing in there. But and you could paint these, spray paint them with some plastic paint also. But these are nice because they have a spot where you can just force your tubing right in there. You can drill holes right in the top of this and throw some tubing in there. This would be a great bucket for multiple collection, like for multiple trees or multiple taps on a single tree. Just poke a bunch of holes in it and have all your lines go into this. So 5 gallons. And then for my overflow, or all my smaller trees, I'll be using whatever plastic containers, food grade buckets that I can get my hand on. I will be asking friends and family to save milk jugs. That's going to be one of them. For smaller trees, for a single tap, this is great, but these last year they overfilled. You got to check them multiple times a day and collect, which is fine. This is the same thing. At the very least, if I end up not having enough containers, I can literally go to the dollar store. These were $1, I think, and I can just buy a bunch of these, dump the water out, I guess, or drink it all, whatever, and then use these for collection. But these are like the cheapest way to go with milk jugs or water containers like this. Milk jugs, you can just drill a little hole in the side of it here. What I did was I tied rope around the tree to hold the milk jug right by the handle, and then had the tube go into it here, which worked out really well. So great collection ideas here that are super frugal. So I also have two new kinds of taps that I'm going to try this year. These are two different kinds. These ones here I bought on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description to these also. These were about $1 and some change a piece. I bought like 25 of them for like $27 or something like that. These are really nice, heavy duty, great little spile. So I think these are going to work really well. I do like the barbed fittings on them here for the tubing to really click to. So I think these are going to be good. I've never used these yet though, so of course I'll let you know at the end of the season if they turn out to be a debacle. But these should be a pretty good little tap. These ones here I bought from a different website. I'll put a link to these also. They're way cheaper. I think I bought 100 of these for $40, so less than 50 cents a piece. And this is how I'm going to really scale up this year, is with these. So they're a little lighter duty plastic, but they do have the tapered tap and everything like that, so they'll only pound into the tree about this far. They do have the barbed fitting again for the tubing and everything, so I kind of like that they have these notches in the front of the tap here, the face of the tap, because it allows me to use my Wonder Bar to pop them out, or a hammer claw to pull them out at the end of the season. So that's kind of a nice feature of these. All right, and that comes to the last step, well, almost last step. The second to last step of the whole maple syrup process is evaporation. You gotta evaporate all the water out and be left with your sugar. So this is the greenhouse. For those of you who are following along, I'm in construction process of this. I've got some windows, I'm framing in the walls, and we're putting plastic on this following week. My evaporator is going to sit right in here at the end. I'm going to use cement board along this back wall. There'll be a pipe that goes up and out, and you know, for smokestack that goes up and out. And I'm going to build a homemade evaporator this year. So I'm going to be using cinder blocks and some fire bricks. And I have my eyes on a large, like 30 or 40 gallon tray to set on top of it. If I can't get a hold of that before it's time to go, I'm going to use those warming dishes, those stainless steel, same as I did last year in my DIY rocket stove evaporator, which worked really well for small scale. But for larger scale here, I need to be able to boil down, you know, 20, 30 gallons at a time. So that's what I'll be doing for that. That'll sit right in the greenhouse here. It'll be interesting to see kind of how the humidity is in here and that. Of course, I'll have these windows I can open. I have fans, and then the other end of the hoop house here can be open so I can get a real nice airflow. There is a really good wind kicking off this field all the time, and so I should be able to keep it kind of aired out here as well. So we've got our taps. I do need to get some tubing. I've got some of the containers, but not all. We'll be able to get the sap collected out there in the forest, bring it up with the tractor, dump it into a storage container that'll be positioned somewhere right around here, probably up on some pallets or something, so it's up off the ground, and I'll be able to gravity feed that through a tube right into my evaporator, evaporate off our sap down to, you know, pretty close to the sugar content I'm looking for, and then from there we'll take it inside, or I'll set up something out here to finish it off. We'll probably use like a turkey roaster or something like that on a propane tank to finish it off out here, just because finishing it over the fire sometimes can be a little bit tricky. I have a little more control that way. So once I get it finished off, there's a few things I don't have yet. I'm going to get some big filters that fit into, I'm going to use those coffee warmers, those big like 50 cup or 100 cup coffee warmers. So once the syrup is done, I'll put it in there, it'll keep it hot, and then I can use the tap right on the coffee warmer to fill our jars. Now, we're not using traditional maple syrup jars, so for those of you guys who end up getting our syrup, it'll come in jars like this. These are sauce bottles. They'll have a plastic cap on them. These are a 12-ounce jar is what we decided to go with. We're looking at selling these for about $9.99, $10 locally here. We may offer these on our website as well if we can get shipping and stuff figured out. But this is what we've chosen to go with. So this is what we've looked at to be a profitable size and all that stuff. These containers are also a lot cheaper, and I like the way they look. They're neat. They're a little different than a regular traditional kind of maple syrup. So, but we'll use that little coffee warmer there. We'll be able to tap it right into the jars, fill it up, all sanitized and clean, cap those off, and then let them cool. So that's going to be our process from start to finish. Our plan for our process from start to finish for maple syrup this year. There's a cat that just will not leave me alone here. But I have never been so excited about springtime. I've said that in my last video, and this is why. There's so much work to do. Getting all this stuff prepared. I have to build the evaporator. I have to get wood together for that. I have some, but not enough. Get this greenhouse finished, you know, order all the rest of the stuff and pick up the rest of the supplies and get this process started. So what an exciting time though. I'm pumped. Maple syrup is a great thing to produce on your own property. Even if you have a small suburban setting and you just have 1 or 2, maybe 3 maple trees, you can get maple syrup. I mean, you can do it on your kitchen stove if you have a small amount. Collect up your sap and take it in and boil it. It doesn't matter what kind of maple trees you have, silver maple, red maple, you know, sugar maples obviously are the best. You get, you know, more bang for your buck, but any maple tree will produce maple syrup. So you don't have to worry about that. Maple syrup is also one of those things, kind of like honey. You can use it for so many things. We use it for baking. We use it in place of sugars and a lot of our recipes. You just, you know, add maple syrup instead of sugar and add a little less water or milk to it, and it turns out just great. So it's a great homemade, healthier sugar substitute as well. So maple syrup in your coffee, and there's probably a website somewhere, 1,000 uses for maple syrup. Check it out. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming along for the planning process. I'm going to try to do these videos more often, kind of take you through my thought process before I get into the projects. I got a lot of great feedback from you guys and ideas on the greenhouse, and so I appreciate that, and I'm geeked. I'm ready to go. As always, guys, hit thumbs up on the video. Just reach out and tap thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, well, you need to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell next to it as well so you get a notification alerts when we post new videos. Lots of maple syrup stuff coming up here shortly, and gardening stuff coming up soon, and just a whole lot of good things. So love to have you guys tag along and stick around for that. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.